Okay. Okay. Yeah. Welcome back. So, hi, IFNG. Good morning here in the US. Good afternoon, Middle East and the UK. And good evening, Philippines. So, yes. So, let's welcome back Miss Joy from Ielts Boss. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Jeff. It's so lovely to be back. Really, really lovely. And you're in the States.
Yeah. I'm in South Carolina right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm living here.
What's the weather like?
Now it's going spring. It's not that cold anymore, but I got used to Middle East, so I feel cold.
You're not living there now, are you? Are you living there?
I'm here, yeah.
You moved?
Yeah, I moved. That's the reason why I took IELTS. So everyone, for those who are preparing IELTS, this is your goal, to be wherever you are or wherever the place you want to be. Like for nurses in the Philippines, they plan to go to the US. So yeah, one requirement is IELTS. That's why IFNG was created, because of this requirement.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
And thank you. So,
I've got so many things to ask you. How's life in America compared to the UAE?
No, as of now, I'm loving here because the community of my sisters are very good, very peaceful. So I like it. And the weather, the trees, we don't have that much trees in the UAE, and the weather, but the community here is not like big city. So it's like, province, but it's okay. It's beautiful houses, lovely place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So without further ado, Joy, first, I think it's in the Philippines, it's Monday, Thursday. It's Holy Week. So that's why.
It's Holy Week here as well, Jeff. Yeah. So I did wonder about this because I wanted to do anyway, it's Holy Week too. Okay. I'm also Christian. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a maps lecture. Okay, so most of the public training that I've been doing has been, task 2, and I thought it would be good to do a task 1. Jeff, have you put me on?
Yes, I put you as co-host. So you can.
Got it. So I was like, who are these people trying to come into the room? Okay, so that means I can share. So yeah, I find that there's lots more like helpful stuff for task 2. So I thought I would do task 1. And then I'd like to extend a special invitation to everyone at the end. So if you're ready and willing, and I know it's late in the evening, but this is going to be interactive if you're willing. So the most common task 1, the most common task 1 type is going to be a chart. It's a dynamic or a static chart. So people think, oh, there are different charts. Yeah, I need to learn a table. I need to learn a pie chart. I need to learn a bar chart. Actually, that's not true. You should, there's only 2 types of charts, whether the time changes or not. So a bar chart could be, you write the same response as a pie chart if the dates are the same. Anyway, those are the most common, but we also have maps and processes, and these are a completely different type of approach, and you need different grammar, you need to be able to write it differently. But what is the same is that the structure can be more or less the same. So you've got 150, you need to write 150 words, 20 minutes. You need to really be taking about 5 of those minutes to plan. Your planning is everything. Your planning, you could, with good planning, you could improve half a band, maybe even a band, if you know what you're doing at the beginning, and if you're clear and concise. So the map is when you write a report describing changes to a place. It's going to be a town or a village or a building. It could be a building like a museum or an island. It's going to be I should have put that there. It's going to be the same structure as the chart. So it's going to be introduction, overview. We're going to talk about the overview in a minute. Overview is very important. Overview is very simple, but very important. And then 2 paragraphs of details. So you have to try and figure out how you separate your details. Okay. So your options are, and please ask me if you've got any questions, your options are that you've got a map in the past and a map in the present, okay? So there's a special type of grammar for this. We use a special type of grammar when one date is in the past and one is in the present. We're going to look at that in a minute. Or you've got two dates in the past. Okay, so the structure of everything's going to be the same, but your grammar tense is going to be different. If it's past and present, it's going to be different to past and past. Okay, everyone okay so far? Or, forget about this on the right side. Or you could have plan on the left side, planned development. So you could have a future map. So the first thing we should do when we look at a map is we should look at the date, okay? Because then we decide what tense we're going to use. The second thing we should do is we should look at the most significant change, because that's the detail that we put in our overview. And then thinking about how do we write the details, can we divide the map in half? Because usually there's like a road or a river that maybe goes through the map, which makes it really easy for us to divide it. Or we can simply talk about one map and the other map in the two paragraphs. But as long as it's logical, as long as it makes sense how you write it. Okay, so structure, introduction, where you paraphrase the title, really, really easy sentence. Oh, excuse me, I've got my Zoom here. I was teaching in class today. Okay, introduction should be around 30 words. Overview. Now, this should be around 40 words, a short summary of the most significant changes. So the overview and the introduction are quite short, so we can join them. We can write them in the same paragraph. And then you've got details and details. And you need to write about one area of the map and the changes, or just write about one map in one paragraph and write about another map in the other paragraph. Okay? Because usually you've got two maps. So introduction, overview, details, details. And this is the same for charts. And this is the same for processes, okay? All task one, academic, introduction, overview, details, details. So we always need an overview in the task one, and it's just different depending on what task it is. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to show you a paraphrase, okay? Here's our Ielts question. The maps below show the village of Stokeford in 1940 and 2020. So really easy to write the introduction. Would anyone like to tell me about the dates? Is it past and present? Or is it past and past? Or is it past and future? I'm just going to wait for your answer. If you're watching live, you can put it in the comments. Active learnings, that's what I do in my academy. That's when we actually, our brain works more. So look at those dates and tell me, is it past and past, past and present, past and future? I'll have a little sip of coffee because I've been teaching all day. Past and past. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zen. Thanks, Belle. Brilliant. Okay, past and past. So therefore, does anyone want to guess what grammar tense we should use in the introduction and in the whole body? The choices are this: past simple, present perfect, present simple. I'll just wait for your answer. Lovely responsive group. So the choices are past simple, present perfect, which is has changed or have changed, or present simple. What do you think? I'm going to tell you. We use, when the date is the past and the past, we're going to use the past simple. Okay, so this is an introduction. The two maps show changes which took place. Okay, this is the past simple. This is a lovely, lovely verb to use to take place in the village or in the town or in the city of Stokeford between the years 1940 and 2000. Okay, so we change a little bit. One common myth is that we have to change every word, and you don't have to change every word. There's lots of words that are just the same that we can use. So, but it's lovely to use this which took place, because this is actually a complex sentence. This is a relative clause and it's a complex sentence. So this introduction can be memorized. I don't really teach templates, but I do teach useful phrases. Now, or if you want to be even more sophisticated, you could say over the course of 60 years, because we can see it's 60 years here, comma, ending in 2000. But either one is fine, as long as we use which took place. Okay, so there's our introduction for a past and past. Now, would anyone like to tell me about these two dates? What I'd love you to do in the chat box is tell me, is it past and past, past and present, past and future? And what grammar tense do you think we should be using? I'll give you just a couple of seconds. Oh, I've got answers, brilliant. Past and present, fantastic. Right, if something's in the past, and there's also something in the present, and this is the same in charts, okay? What grammar tense do you think we should use? Any guesses? Yay, we use the present perfect. So we're going to use the same introduction. The two map show changes which have taken place. Okay, so the previous introduction was which took place, which have taken place in the town of Stokeford. Good. And then we've got the second option. I'll just focus on the first option. We only need to know one option, but the task is so short. Okay, so to summarize, past simple, which took place, past and present, which have taken place. The other option is the future, okay? We might have the future today and to 2050. So we've got these phrases. We don't want to just always say will. We can say which are scheduled to take place, okay? To be scheduled to be planned to. And then we've got this preposition by. We always use by, meaning before or on that date. Great. Everyone okay so far? I'd love to know, have you done a map before? Is this new information for you? That's what I'd love to know. You can tell me if you've done them before. You can tell me if you struggle with them. Okay, so that's our introduction. Past simple, present perfect, future. Now we're going to look at the overview. The overview is really important. To get to band 7, you have to write a clear overview. So we're going to look at the general change. We're not going to look at specific details. We're going to look at, like, what's the biggest thing I can see in this map? And there's a lovely phrase that we can use. So overview always starts with overall. Okay, overall. A comparison of the maps shows that Dunstan became, we use the past simple because here, 2 dates in the past, became, and then we're going to use a little modifier, much or far, more or less, and then we've got an adjective, okay? Became much more visitor friendly. So if you can see on the map that there's like car parks, cafes, seats, well then we can call it visitor friendly. And this is a general word to talk about in the overview because we don't want to be specific, okay? Or if you can see like shops and a mall, then you can say became much more urban. Or if you can see lots of houses and flats, then you could say far more urban, residential. Factories, you could say far more industrial. You can also say a bit more or slightly more. I might even put that here, actually. There's always room for improvement. Far a bit. I'll put slightly is better than a bit. Far, slightly. Oh, because I always teach live, I mentioned that in the live classes. But okay. So these are words we can use for the overview because we're being general. Now, I've been using more, but we can also, it's difficult for a place to become more rural. Usually it starts rural and then they build on it and it finishes industrial. So we would say less. We could say much less rural. Okay. If you see hotels, then you can say more touristy. If you see galleries and exhibitions, you can say more cultural. Okay. So we can also group places together using the word facilities. For example, transport facilities. So if you see like train station, bus stop, bicycle route, then it's going to be transport facilities. What do you think entertainment facilities can include? Would you like to have a look at this map and tell me if you can see any entertainment facilities? I'll just wait for it. Let's have a look here. Great, the cinema, fantastic, Zen, good job. So we've got the cinema and here we've also got bars and clubs. Okay, so these are entertainment facilities. And then if you've got a market or a mall, you could say shopping facilities. These are also more general words that we can use in an overview because we're not being specific. We've got hospitality facilities. Hospitality means cafes and restaurants. Great. Now, I've got a little bit of extra writing here that I wanted to add to my slides. So here's our overview. Overall, a comparison of the maps shows that Dunstan became much more modern, comma. I've not finished the sentence yet. Okay, this is the second part of the sentence we can put in an overview. With the introduction of more transport and shopping facilities. Okay, so this is a lovely complex sentence because we've got this second clause. Okay, so some more vocabulary. To undergo changes or to undergo development. Overall, okay, so I need to change this sentence. So overall, a comparison of the map showed that Dunstan underwent significant development. Okay, that means that it became more modern. So you can say became more modern, or you can say underwent significant development with the introduction of more transport and shopping facilities. I'm going to tell you another lovely word we can use for like just development. With the introduction of more infrastructure. Okay, I'd also love to know in the chat box if you've seen me teach before, because I'd like to give you a little free gift at the end of this, but I did teach here about 3 months ago and I gave this free gift. So let me know if you've seen me teach before. I'll have to find something different to give you. So infrastructure, good. So overview, key feature 2. Sometimes it's not necessary, but we can write a second sentence in our overview. Okay, so an overview and also for the charts as well should be like one complex sentence and a possible second sentence. So if you want to identify one thing that's very obvious, okay, you can say the most significant change was the development of the port area in the south of the town. Or if it's the past and the present, the most significant change has been the development of the port area in the south of the town. You can also say this, to have occurred. If it's past and present, we can say to have occurred. This is perfect tense. Okay, so let's have a look at this. What does this look like? Overall, a comparison of the maps shows that Castillon became more modern. So we can see here, it's more modern. With far more transport and shopping facilities, the most significant change was the development of the port area in the south of the town. The second sentence, it's not obligatory. You can have a one sentence overview. So moving on, is everyone familiar with the passive voice? Is everyone, how are you with your grammar? Do I need to do a little passive recap? Say in the chat box, all good, or say all good means you don't need the passive, or let's have a look at what you say. You would like the passive? Great, okay. So in maps and processes, we need to use the passive, okay? So when we talk about the changes to a place, the change is important, okay? Not the person who made the change. This is very important grammar. So let's have a look at this sentence. A builder or a man built a new school, okay? So the very, very basic foundation of an English sentence is, I drill this into my students all the time. Like I really believe in learning from basics, okay? Subject, verb, object. This is the basic English sentence from which all the other sentences grow. So subject, verb, object. Would anybody like to tell me what the subject is in this sentence? Okay, so the subject is the builder. Fantastic. The verb is built, and then the object is a new school. And this is an active sentence, okay? Meaning the subject does something, okay? The subject does something to the object, okay? So subject, verb, object, meaning the subject is a thing who does the action. The subject is always doing the action. But in the passive and in a map, we're looking at the map, and actually it's not important about the builder. We don't care about the builder, but this action is important. The new school is important, okay? So we take the subject and we put it at the beginning of the sentence because it's important. And then we use the verb to be, and then we have the past participle of the verb. Okay, so it's actually two verbs. So we use to be plus the past participle. And this means another person did it, but it's not important, the other person, the action is important, okay? When we have a passive sentence, we always understand another person did it. But we understand the action is important and the person is not important, okay? So I have another job, and I teach in the college, and I was at the college this morning, and I went in and I said, oh, the classroom's so clean. One of the students said, yeah, it was cleaned at the weekend. Okay, so she didn't say a cleaner cleaned it at the weekend. That wasn't important. The important thing was it was the action. So she said it was cleaned. So it's passive. We understand by a cleaner. Okay, so there's an understanding with the passive sentence that we can always use. We can always think by somebody, by a person. Okay. If you can add by on the sentence, it means it's passive. Was that clear for everyone? Was that okay? So we need to use the passive in a map because we see all of these buildings and changes. And what's important is the change happened, but the person who did the change is not important, okay? And it's the same as in a process. We use the passive in a process. So in these two, but we use active in the charts. So in the maps and the processes, we use the passive voice. Okay, so just clarify the passive in each tense. Past simple, a new school was built. Present perfect, A new school has been built. Okay, when we have the been, it's present perfect. And future passive, a new school will have been built. So that will have been, the been is the, means another person did it. Okay. Should I admit this person, Jeff? There's a person waiting to get in. All okay so far? Is this useful? That's all I want to know. Is it useful? So that's, what have we done? We've done introduction, we've done overview, and we've done the passive. Okay, so you're fully equipped. We've got the introduction, we've got the overview, we've done the grammar, we've got the grammar clarification. Past simple, present perfect, future. Right, some verbs cannot be used in the passive. Okay, so disappear, we cannot say has been disappeared. Disappear is always active because another person cannot disappear you. This verb become cannot be used in the passive, and this verb take place cannot be used in the passive. So we simply say a number of important changes have taken place. The city has become, the woods has disappeared. Okay, so these verbs cannot be used in the passive. Okay, some top map vocabulary. To make bigger, to enlarge, to extend, to expand, to develop. To take away, to cut down. So we would use this with trees. To chop down, also with trees. To demolish, to knock down, to remove, to pull down. To add something new, to build, to introduce, to construct, to erect, to plant. This is an important one, to plant trees. And then talking about general statements. Okay, so good words for the overview. To industrialize, to modernize, to pedestrianize, to redevelop, to relocate, to urbanize, to disappear. And then to change into something else. And these verbs, very important, always have a preposition. Okay, to convert into, to make into, to turn into, to be replaced by. That's the preposition. And then to improve, to refurbish, to renovate, to redevelop, to upgrade. Okay, so to score well in lexical resource, we must vary our vocabulary. So often students are worried, I can't repeat a word. And I always tell students you can repeat words, but you must show that you can vary them. So if the word's a verb, can you show the examiner you can change it into a noun? For example, to introduce, we can change it into a noun and say the introduction of. The most significant change was the introduction of a cycle lane in the south of the town. The most significant change was the development of the port area. So this is taking the word introduce and you're making it into a noun, okay? Varying the vocabulary. Good, okay, so let's have a look at these. Develop, we want to change these. So these are verbs. I should probably put the to in front of those, to develop. Okay, yeah, I should. Let's look at the noun form, the development of, the construction of. I should just actually make it clear that it's a verb and we should just put to here and I'll fix that later. This is very specially for you. The replacement of, the disappearance of. Now, if the verb has a preposition, actually our noun sentence needs two prepositions. Great job. Okay. The conversion of a school into a train station. Okay, so when we use this word conversion or convert, it means it was one thing, now it changed to another thing. So we need to say, what was it before? What was it after? So when something is replaced, it means it's not changed, it means it's completely different. So the replacement of by, the replacement of the path by a cycle lane. Okay. Just going to clarify this vocab. Okay, so to convert, this means to change the purpose. Okay, this means one thing was something. So what was this thing originally? Can anyone tell me what this thing was in the beginning? It was a bus. Fantastic. So it was a bus. Now it's a house. Therefore, we can use convert. Okay, let's look at the sentence. The bus has been converted into a house. So we're using the present perfect because it was in the past, but we're not sure when. And we're using the passive because another person did it. We don't know who. Okay, just the action is important. The bus has been converted into a house. Very good. So that's convert. But what about replace? So actually, I've just put this note here. I need to change the picture because I'm not sure if this is clear, but I think it could be clear. So which do you think is the original? Which picture? You can say left or right or small or big. Geo, you're amazing. So Geo, great. So the original was this one, but now there is this one. And the original does not exist anymore. So therefore we can use replace. Okay. Can you remember the preposition with replace? Can anyone remember the preposition? Is it on, into, by, or below? Oh, nearly. Gio, nearly. Replaced. Anyone else? By. Oh, very good job. Oh, sorry, go back here. The bus was replaced by a newer version. We're using the past simple there because maybe we have information that this was a specific date in the past. Okay, great job. So the next thing is when we're talking about our map, we need to be able to talk about the location. And we must do this using north, east, south, and west if this is on the map, and it's usually on the map. Okay, so hold on. My screen's so north, east, south, west, northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. Okay, I remember this because my dad taught me when I was young. Never for N, eat for E, shredded for S, wheat. Never eat shredded wheat. If you can try and think of something to remember this by, because if you can't remember, you're not, I still struggle with which is east, which is west, still struggle. So, but we need to use these words when we're talking about the map. So, very good, Jordan, thank you. Yeah, bye. Very good, all of you are great. Yeah, brilliant. So there are two prepositions we use with northeast, southwest. Okay, so when we're talking about in the map, we use preposition in, okay? In the north of the island. In the east of the island, there is barren land. Barren means nothing on it. In the south of the island, okay? In the west of the island. Now, it could be not island, it could be town. So we use in when we talk about the place, the actual whole map, the town or the island, okay? However, when we want to connect two places together, then we use to. Okay, so to the north of the pier, can everyone find the pier with me? To the north, here's the pier. To the north of the pier, there are some huts, okay? To the east of the huts. So here are the huts. Let's go east. There are trees and undeveloped land. To the south of reception, where's reception? Reception's there. Go south, there's a pier. To the west of reception, there's a beach. So here's reception, there's the beach. So when we're connecting two places, we can use to. I'd love to be able to give you a chance to practice this. This is what I love to do with my students on a document. Okay, very good. So we can also use next to, opposite, beside, and facing, but we cannot use above and below, and we cannot use left and right. Okay, we must use north, east, south, west. Good job. Everyone's surviving. Okay, so articles. Articles, a and the. Or an and some. Like a process, all the places in a map are nouns. Okay. A university, a new shopping centre, an airport. So if we have a singular countable noun, we must use an article, or it must be plural. Okay, so we must always remember about the articles, because even teaching students up to C1 level, to band 7 and more, articles is the biggest struggle. So a shopping mall was built. The road was pedestrianized. We use a when we talk about something for the first time. We use the when we understand what we're talking about, or there's only one thing. Okay. Okay, the woods. So woods is an irregular noun. It's singular. Woods means a group of trees, but it's singular. It's not plural. So we say was. The woods was cut down. Here we can see the woods was cut down. And the port. Here there is nothing in the port. And now there are things. So we can say it was developed. Here we can say a police station was built. So we must always think. So maps and processes need articles, or they need to be plural in most of the situations. New houses were built, needs to be plural. Alrighty, so I'm going to give you some sentence structures and then show you a model answer. I'd love you to be thinking about your questions. Alrighty, so here's a sentence structure to use in our maps. Contrast. So to score highly for task achievement, it's important that we compare and contrast the maps with each other and don't just describe them separately. We need to compare and contrast. So let's have a look at this. In 2000, there was a train station in the west of the town. Can everyone please look at the map 2000, and can everyone please find the train station? And now can you please look at the map today, and what can you see now in the same place? So look at the map on the left or the west, looking at the train station. What do you see in this map in the same place? Great job by police station. Okay, so here is a really nice contrast sentence. Okay, in 2000, there was a train station in the west of the town. Right, we're going to use a very important contrast word. Whereas now, so there was. So now what are we going to say? Are we going to say there was, or are we going to say there is? Whereas now there is. Fantastic. Okay. There is a police station. So this is one type of contrasting sentence that we can use. Very good. We can also say a different way to say there was is there used to be. Okay, so there used to be also talks about the past, whereas now, would anybody like to finish this sentence for me? So there used to be a woods in the northeast. Northeast. So what is there now? So could you finish that sentence for me? Whereas now, I'm going to check your articles. I'll just wait for it in the chat box. Whereas now, there is a new shopping centre. Great job, Arvin. Great. Okay. So, sentence structure 2, relative clauses. To the south. This is really, really good training I'm giving you. To the south of the train station. So here's the train station. And there's an old market. Where an old market stood, there is now a new shop. Now, this is something called a non-defining relative clause. If we take this red part out of the sentence is complete. To the south of the train station, there is now a new shop. This is extra information in the middle of the sentence with 2 commas. Okay. It's a wonderful complex structure. I might even, always adding to things, I might even just add a little thing here. And this is called non-defining relative clause. Adding extra information to a sentence. And I'll just fix that later. Just so everything is clear in the, so everything is clear. Okay. You guys holding in there? It's very late for you. Okay, so we say where an old market stood, but we can only use this stand for a building. We cannot say where farmland stood. So if there was farmland, we can say where there was farmland or where there was a woods. So that's the second structure. Okay. Let's practice this. To the west of the fountain. Can everyone look at the first map, and can you tell me what do you see to the west of the fountain?
Where are you?
Great, Connie. So I just see your comment. Thank you. Yes, good. Connie and Anne-Marie, stage for musicians. So, to the west of the fountain, where, hold on you guys, let me put you on mute. Please try to mute yourself. Okay, great. You're very welcome to take yourself off mute and chat. So, to the west of the fountain, where a stage for musicians stood, comma, what is there now? Can you find, so this is today, this is the past, what is there now? I'll just wait for you. So to the west of the fountain, where a stage for musicians stood, what can you see now? Yes, an amphitheater. Good job, Christine. So there is now an amphitheater. Okay. If we take out this red, the sentence is still complete. Okay. To the west of the fountain, there is now an amphitheater. So this is another structure in the center of the park. Now, would anyone like to follow this grammar and try and make a similar sentence? In the center of the park, and then can you follow that relative clause? What should we put now? Where a fountain stood. Check you out. That's amazing. And then now what is there, Arvin? There is or there are. We can use plural. There is now a rose garden. Wonderful. And I've got this little extra bit surrounded by seating. Very, very good. 100 points. Okay. So we've done two structures. Okay. We've done there was, whereas now there is. We've then done in the west, where a thingy stood, there is now. And now we're going to do the third structure. Present perfect passive. Okay. The woods has been. So the present perfect passive is has been. And would anyone like to tell me why we are using the present perfect? Does anyone want to look at the dates and tell me? Past to present, amazing Lambert. So if this map said like 2018, how do we change this sentence? Just change, can anyone change the verb for me? If the map said 2018, I'd be so delighted if you got there. You probably will, you're a very smart group. I shouldn't say smart, everyone's smart. You're a very astute group. Nope, not quite, not had been. No, nope, just was. Yeah. So Connie and Anna, good job. We can actually write a map. Actually, we could say had been, but was is better. If we use had been, we actually have to contrast it with another sentence with by. Okay, so we are safer. We're always safer in a map with two past just to use was. The had been's really tricky. Okay, so the old market has been demolished and replaced by a new shop. Now I wonder why that's done funny there. Okay, so a bicycle rental scheme. Would anyone like to tell me? Let's have a look at the bicycle rental scheme. Has been introduced. Okay, so if something is not actually like a building, and we can't really say built, we can use this wonderful word, introduced. So here we've got a bicycle rental scheme, has been introduced. Right, okay. Present perfect passive. The pond. Can everyone see the pond? Look at the first map. Has been replaced by, what's it been replaced by? children's play area. Fantastic. And so we must always remember the article. Okay, so the pond has been replaced by a children's play area. Great job. Okay, useful vocab. So I've taught this, I've been teaching IELTS writing for a very long time now, and I find that with certain things, there are just some really key useful words. So housing. Housing means accommodation, and it's uncountable, and it's a general noun, and it doesn't need an article unless we're being specific. So here we go here, housing. New housing has been built. Be really really good for your lexical resource. And here it's similar. What do you think I'm going to say here? So houses turn to housing. What do you think seats turns to? I'll just wait for you. Well, seats actually turns to seating. And it's a general noun without an article. New seating has been introduced. We say introduced because it's not really a building, but houses can be built, but seating can't, it's not really built, it's just introduced. So let's look at a model answer. 2 maps in the past. Okay, Port View Town. Sorry, this is not a model answer. This is actually some more contrast sentences. So in 1990, there was a small resort. Where's the resort? Here's the resort. While in 2010, it was 5-star hotels. In the southeast, there was farmland, where in 2010, it was a park. Now, we're not going to do the present perfect. Let me just 1 second. Sorry, the past perfect, because it can get a bit complicated. I don't believe in teaching more than 2 grammar tenses in at one time at all. It confuses students. So, and that goes against all of my teaching sensibilities. Okay, I'll just share again my screen. Sitting area would be nice, yeah, good. Okay, so here are some other useful sentences. The trees were cut down to make way for. Okay, so something, it's like replaced. To create space for something. New offices were built to accommodate more local businesses. So we can use this to, or in order to show the purpose. Might even put that there. Purpose to. Okay. The road, and then we've got this lovely non-defining relative clause, which runs from east to west. So this is like extra information, was pedestrianized. A hotel was extended. A park was introduced with a cafe opening up. And there was a road running from north to south, which divides the port area from the town. Okay. Finally, we can make some comments. We don't give our opinions in task 1, but we can make comments. Examples of comments are interestingly, or another notable change is, or a striking development is. And then we just get our sample answer. So it's very important that we, for a task achievement. So I love teaching grammar. I love it, but it's not important if we haven't organized our details well and if our task achievement isn't very good. So we need to organize our details in a logical way. It's very important that we compare the maps. And a good way to see this is if we can divide the map, okay? We can do this by dividing it into north and south. So we can, in the first paragraph, we can talk about the north and we can compare them. And in the second paragraph, we can talk about the south. So maybe there's like a road or a river or a train track that runs through the map. We could say a river flows from east to west and a train track runs from north to south. So have a look at this map. And can you tell me how it would be good to divide this map and talk about it? With any ideas? Do you see any road or any river or anything that separates the map? Okay, so I can see a road here. And this would be a nice way to separate the map into east and west of the road. Okay, so one way we could do it is if we write an introduction and an overview and then do details of the map, of this map, and then details about this map, but that might limit you to maximum 7. If you want to score more, divide the map in half and compare both halves, okay? And that is going to give you more for task achievement. So let's look at a sample answer. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, the road. So we're going to look at a sample answer. This is the past and the present. Let's look at the introduction and the overview. So the two maps show changes which have taken place in the town of Castillon over the course of the last 21 years. Overall, a comparison of the map shows that Castillon has become much more modern with the introduction of new infrastructure and transport facilities. The most significant change is the development of the port area. And then this is so important. We need to tell the examiner in the first few words of the first paragraph, what are we looking at? So we need to say, looking at the north of the town, or looking at the map, the town in 2000, in the year 2000, or looking at the south of the town. This is critical for task achievement and coherence and cohesion. Okay. Looking at the north of the town, there was no accommodation for students in 2000. However, a hall of residence has been built. The woods has been cut down, so we're comparing this area to make way for a new shopping centre. And south of this, an airport is under construction. The train station, which stood in the west of the town, has been converted into a police station, and a new tram station, tram line have been built. Another notable change is the introduction of a bicycle rental scheme in the city centre. So we've described everything in the north. Okay, so next paragraph, turning to the south of the town. So these phrases are critical. The port area has been developed, including a cinema, bars and clubs. An interesting development is the pedestrianisation of the road, which divides the port from the town. To the north of the road, A new market has been erected while the old market has been replaced by a new shop. So there's a variety of language structures here. We've used nouns instead of verbs. We've said the introduction of a bicycle rental scheme, and we've divided this into north and south. Okay, so in the first paragraph, we've talked about the north and we've compared. And in the second paragraph, we've talked about the south and we've compared. When we say has been, there's no need to say now. Okay, has been means now. Okay, you have done so great. Let me just yeah, so I've got a, I don't want to like frazzle your brain. I'd love to know if you've got any questions. If you've not got any questions, that is super fine. I am doing something new. So I have an online academy, but I'm actually doing a 6 weeks writing challenge. And this 6 weeks is going to include, each week is going to include a essay lesson, a grammar lesson, a task 1 lesson, similar to this, just like this, and then a feedback session on homework. And they're going to be exercises. And I found that 6 weeks is enough time to cover each task with all the grammar included, and you build on each other. So it's starting next week. I've actually enrolled some students on it this week. And we've done a bonus grammar basics week this week. So we've done really, really kind of basic grammar for introductions, basic grammar for topic sentences. And I'm going to be doing a call about this to see if this is right for you. So the call is actually tomorrow. But in the meantime, what I'd like to do is give you a free PDF, which is the structure of each task 2 essay. And if you download the PDF on the thank you page, you can book a call, free, to come and chat to me about this course, this 6 weeks challenge. So I'll give the link of the free PDF to Jeff, and he can forward it to you all. Or maybe, would that be good in the chat box just now, or whether I should send it to him? I'd love to give you this. So I put this structure together for each task 2 essay. Students have been getting 7 by following this structure. So this is a gift for you. This is a gift for you. It's in the chat box now. You can download that, and on the thank you page, if you would like to take part in this challenge, you can book on a call with me. So has this been helpful? That's what I'd love to know. Have you learned something about maps that you didn't know before? Silence. Yay, thank you, Christine. That's amazing. Okay, you did great. Thank you for interacting. Yeah, you're so welcome. And I'm hoping that Jeff will have me on like maybe every 3 months and we can do a lecture. I know that the IELTS is tough, so I just want to congratulate you all on your hard work. Please download that gift. It's really useful if you don't already have it. And I will see you soon. Jeff, are you still there?
All right, thanks.